Okay, so I'm outside right now. Well, it's pretty wet, but it's not sloppy wet yet because I wanted to talk about our area's dirt and some of the things that we're doing with our raised beds, some of the things that we have done in the past, and what's worked best for us. So, one of the things I want to point out is that we have raised beds, and they're probably maybe like 8 inches tall from the middle up. And this will be our second year with these. And the first year we had, it was last year and it was rough. We had a lot of plants up here and pretty much all of them died. We had containers, we had them in the ground. It was just really bad. I think it was mainly due to the fact that we were lacking organic material like the straw, and we also put in cardboard to help shade the roots towards the end of the season, which we probably should have started off with when we were transplanting them into the ground. So what I've gone and done for this year's season is over the winter months, I've incorporated compost, which I will describe the compost that we use in a different video. I've added wood chips, I've added straw, alfalfa, I guess. I go to Olson's Grain and I get a big bag of whatever's laying on the ground. They just let you go over there for free because they have to clean it up. So you're pretty much doing them a favor. So then I'll just come home and I'll put it in the beds, and you can see that after a while, it actually sprouts. It will actually start growing in your bed. So when you do this with straw or alfalfa or whatever you pick up at Olson's Grain or whatever, you need to make sure that you're coming out here and pulling these out because they're just gonna be competition. See, look at that. That's just competition for your plants in the future. They're already draining the nutrients that you've spent all winter long putting in this bed, and they're getting to it before you even get your plants in the ground. So you want to make sure you're coming out here and tilling it, which is aerating it. See, right here you can tell the ground is wet. It's been misting all day, but when you dig down in it, it's fairly dry. I mean, it's kind of wet down below, but we've had a lot more rain than recently. We've had a lot of rain, but today it was pretty much dried out. You know, it dries it from the outside in, and it was dry, and then it started misting. So everything's got a nice fine wetness to it, but underneath it's still dry, except for when you get down into the center where it's soaked in. Most of the native soil is clay, so there's really bad drainage. So like the top part could be sloppy. I mean, just sloppy, and that's why we have wood bark on our pathways, because last year we almost fell because our garden is on a hill of our property. So it's all sloping downward, and we'd be walking up this way to weed the garden and almost fall and slip and really hurt ourselves. So not only did we put this here for traction, but we also put it here just kind of just to try and keep things safe. You don't really want to fall out here and twist something. That'd really suck. Mom also put it on the in the trails because it helps keep water in the beds. So right here I have to add more. The chickens got up in here and destroyed both beds and the walkway. But if we put bark right here, it's gonna help keep this stuff wet as it dries out because the bark just soaks it up. And that's why it's a good idea to have some bark or wood chips in your raised beds. We have had an area where we chopped wood for a very long time, so the dirt underneath the wood that we have now is like this super fine clay mixture with sawdust, and it's really good for the beds as we found. So I've spent quite a few days with my husband and mother-in-law bringing up loads of dirt from the wood chip pile. We also will ask for our neighbors' animal manure. So for example, we have one neighbor that gives us horse poo, and throughout the year we take a load and we just put it out on the ground and we let the sun just dry it out. And then the following season we use that in our beds. We also do that with goat poop. We have a neighbor who lets us rake out her stall, so we get not only the goat poop, but we get nasty straw too, so it's already starting to decompose and we put it in there. Everything that we've put in this garden, we've been putting in it since the last season. So it's sat here and it's aged for a while. I recommend letting your garden mix and incorporate. We also do a compost pile of all the things in our house, like eggshells and coffee grounds. All that stuff goes into a big pile and we mix it all together and we let it decompose. The next season afterwards, we dig it up a little bit, and underneath is this nice black organic material that we can use in our gardens. All of this takes time, all of it takes patience and dedication. Last year, these raised beds, I had zero hope for them, zero faith for them. This year, I've spent a lot of time working these beds, so I know that there may be a chance that I can actually get something to grow. We've also decided to do different veggie plants, so things aren't going to be as spaced out, and we're going to have a lot more things that work together, like basil and tomato plants. It helps keep the bugs off the tomato plants. Let's see, what else about our beds do we do? I don't know, Johnny, is there anything else you can think of?
Not at the moment.
So I think that's everything for our raised beds. If there's something else I can think of, I'll get back to you. But for right now, that's all I can think of. We'll work on potted containers in the next video.